Let me tell you a little secret that you don't remember, but I'd like to help you remember. You picked your body. Yes, that's right, I said it. According to quantum science and the oracles of Ifa, yes, you picked your body. And I'd like to remind you why. If you don't believe it, it's perfectly fine. I don't mind at all. Just consider it entertainment purposes only if you're not into these type of metaphysical chats. If I had to explain how a soul chooses its bodies in a manner so simple that even a child could understand, then I would liken the bodies of our reincarnations to Earth to wigs. Yes, I said wigs. So for this purpose, the wigs would be the bodies you choose each lifetime. What you see here of me in my raw, unwigged state would be your natural soul as it is when it's back in the spiritual realm, our place of home. So, for instance, if I needed to experience the consequences of being judgmental and looking down on others until I run everyone off and become unpleasant to be around, this would be me acting as the opposite of what I am, which is unconditional love and being solution focused in correcting the imperfections of humanity. Or let's say that in order to forget that I am powerful, sufficient, and enough, I incarnate as a sheltered, codependent princess that hates to be alone, that has lived her life based on pleasing people and giving her power away, seeking love and acceptance from people who won't love her as much. As she works hard to look like a cookie cutter idea of what society told her is beautiful and acceptable. Or in a different lifetime, say for instance, I need to incarnate to experience what forgiveness and overcoming bitterness feels like. So I incarnate as a young woman that was once an orphan that ends up being a call girl and a hustler that never experienced true family love until she meets certain soul group members and karmics that embrace her and show her what true, unromantic, non-sexual, non-agenda having love really is. Let's say that my soul decides to incarnate as a male in another lifetime that disrespects women and doesn't understand the power of feminine principle. So that man has to go through certain trials and tribulations based on the wrongdoings he has had with his mother and other women in his life. So many possibilities, so many lifetimes. These bodies are sacred, yet no more than a good wig to fit the occasion of the event that you are attending. So let us explore further. Good afternoon, everyone. I am back with another video all about why we pick our bodies. Now, it may be hard enough for us to accept that we choose our parents, whether great or terrible, and that we choose our destinies as we reach to find meaning as to why. But even more so, a lot of us may be asking, why did I choose this body? So for those of you who feel that way, or maybe if you don't even feel that way about your body choice, allow me to explain. First of all, I would like to start off this conversation by saying that you are not your body. Your body that you are in is like a meat suit, or maybe a wig that someone chooses to put on, or an outfit someone chooses to put on for the day. If you were going to a black tie affair, you would need the appropriate attire for a black tie affair, which are formal clothing. If you're going to a picnic or family reunion, you would wear the appropriate attire. So the body that you have chosen in this life represents the appropriate attire that your soul chose for the purpose of your destiny and what you needed to do in this life. So if you have a football player's body, then of course you most likely chose to be more physical in this lifetime and experience all 5 of the base human senses. Once again, I repeat, your body is just a vehicle that your soul is riding in for a particular aspect of the human experience in the 3rd dimension. Your face, known as physiognomy, also tells a story of your past life temperament, your inner self, or either ancestral epigenetics that you are carrying today. Even though your soul and who you are throughout lifetimes in your inner character, known as Ori Inu, resides in the solar plexus area, that story also shows up in the top head known as Ori Ode. telling a story of what you have been through in past lifetimes. So every wrinkle or mark can represent something, even if you acquired the mark later on in life. It's telling a story about a season that you will be in with the decades that you are on earth. The top part of your head, known as Ori Ode, is your satellite to the cosmos and your connection to the creator that reminds you of the destiny you chose, regardless of your inner soul character. And sometimes those two can get in conflict with one another. Your top head, which is your inbox to the creator and satellite to the cosmos, also governs your destiny or the character and avatar that you are playing here on earth. And sometimes your top head and inner gut can be in conflict with one another. Kind of like a fight between the head and the heart. So that's why sometimes you may feel one way, but know that you must do another thing. Or there is sometimes a conflict between what you want to do and rather do versus what you know you have to do. That is why you get issues sometimes with certain people that have gender dysphoria, that may feel like they were born in the wrong body or born to the wrong physical sex. And even though race doesn't exist, things such as racial or ethnic identity crisis, all of this can be tied to a conflict between what your soul wants versus what your life on earth requires. And needing to remember why you chose that body and accepting that this is the role that you chose to play in this life, regardless of who you really are at your core and gut. You might even feel that you are okay with the gender you're born or the race and ethnicity you are born, but maybe you feel disconnected from your body or the human experience. So you feel like your body's here, but your mind is somewhere else, and you just don't feel fully integrated into your body. That is also a form of conflict with the Ori Nu, the solar plexus soul, and the top head, which governs your destiny as well. So let's get into some karmic causes of certain things that you may consider an imperfection of a body here on earth, which is just based on social programming. I would like to first start off by saying that your soul is not into the body trends of the earthly human experience of this generation and this lifetime, and could care less about colorism, what's considered sexy, socially acceptable, and desirable. Your soul does not care so much about that unless you incarnated to have that experience. So if you are in a body that you really don't care for, your soul is here for a different purpose than just totally being here to be socially accepted by whatever trend is going on these days with human bodies, such as being thin enough or thick enough, tall enough, short enough, dark enough, light enough, or whatever features are considered plausible in this day and age. So let's talk for a brief moment about obesity and the fat gene. So possibly in a past life, or either in your ancestor's past life, which you could be experiencing through epigenetics, maybe you or an ancestor could have been physically violated against your will, you know, the R word, objectified, such as being sold on an auction block, or experienced hunger or scarcity in some type of way, or just felt like you weren't enough. And the possible pain that your soul felt in that past life, or that your ancestor felt, was such a strong imprint into the subconscious soul that it became an imprint in your soul's blueprint, causing you to experience a body that's prone to obesity or the so-called fat gene. Also incarnating in a more abundant human body, if you're not accepting of that, it can also be linked to past life shame or just feeling unsafe in the third dimensional world and wanting to cover and hide yourself in some sort of way. Now, I'm not saying this is the case with everyone. This is only the case whereas if someone incarnates and they have an obesity issue and they're unhappy with it. I'm not talking about situations like Sister Lizzo, who's perfectly fine being big, abundant, and beautiful, because on the flip side, if the body is healthy and being exercised, that person's soul may feel like it's a blessing to have a bigger body representing a bigger self and abundance. But on the flip side, if someone has a problem being in an obese body, then the principle of feeling safe in the body and feeling seen might need to be tackled either via hypnosis or some form of professional therapy. But I digress. So in a past life, if you constantly had the thought form that you are not enough, or there's not enough, then the body would respond to that subconscious thought by expansion physically to make you bigger, to compensate for being so-called the illusion of not enough. And once again, this does not apply to everyone, because I can relate to the so-called obesity gene on my father's side of the family. So it's just a matter of managing and controlling weight and remembering the subconscious causes of holding on to weight. Also holding on to toxic energy in the body so the body protects you so that the spiritual toxicity does not flood your soul any further. So each person's case is different. These are only generalized reasons why someone would be experiencing not feeling comfortable in a bigger body. Now let's talk a little bit about racial dysphoria and colorism. Remember what I said in the beginning of this video is that your soul is not concerned with who's light enough, who's dark enough, has the biggest lips, hips, and tips. But just like the white baby doll experiment, if you've ever seen that clip, I'll leave the link in the description box for you to see. Children as young as 4 and 6 years old were put in a scientific experiment where they had to choose which doll is the better doll, the white doll versus the black doll. Any of the children, whether they were so-called Caucasian or more melanated, chose the white doll and said that the white doll was the good doll and the black doll was the bad doll. This is due to social conditioning in the human experience once the soul gets here. The soul does not care about race. The soul does not care about lighter and darker. That happens when we are as young as 2 years old, being influenced by our family, our parents, society, and the cartoons we watched and the things we saw on TV and the people we saw in the magazines. And also getting teased and not feeling accepted enough if we didn't look like those people on the magazine. So once again, if you are having a problem with the body that you're in, please know that your soul does not give a damn about human social trends on earth, about what's physically acceptable. And at the time, you didn't give a damn. And so you chose the body that you're in because you're here to do something more important than just what your physical body looks like. So it's a matter of overcoming, seeking acceptance based on social current trends, because those trends are always shifting and changing. Then it has become ingrained in your epigenetics to view something lighter than you as superior and something darker as inferior. It is an illusion. And if any of you have this problem, just realizing that it's an illusion to be overcome in the subconscious and knowing that the people who are for you are going to be with you regardless of what you look like, then the healing can begin. And manifesting better circumstances can begin, regardless of your age and where you are in life. Now let's talk about disfigured bodies. There are both negative repercussional reasons and positive reasons why a soul may choose to be born as physically disabled or mentally handicapped or have limited body ability in some sort of form or fashion. It is believed when a person, based on a lot of past life regressions and hypnosis, that when a soul chooses to come here in a disfigured body or there's some sort of injury on the body that's major that they were born with and didn't acquire in this lifetime, it can be due to a past life where that person could have taken themselves out, the S word, and chose to come back to burn off that residual energy and heal that residual energy by coming back in a limited body. That's why we must realize that every choice that we make to get out of the game too soon can have a ripple effect in the future of our soul's journey that could come back to hit us like a boomerang later on. But keep in mind, there's no such thing as past, present, and future. Everything is going on simultaneously, but that's a different story for a different day. Also, in a past life, some were tortured or did torturing in some sort of way and had to come back and make amends for that. I'm not speaking of karmic punishment, but they chose to come back because it's all a choice. We're not forced to come back, but they chose to come back to see how they made the other people feel, thus being thrust into a so-called damaged physical body. Also, there are certain highly evolved and elevated souls that chose to come back here with a physical limitation in order to level up in a different area of their life. So take someone like Stevie Wonder, for instance, or someone like Helen Keller. With Stevie Wonder being blind in his physical eyes and Helen Keller being born deaf in the ears and blind in her physical eyes, yet still having a great, wonderful destiny. That's an example of a good Ori Rere, where they chose to have a physical limitation in order to highlight other gifts and talents. Say, for instance, if someone had a past life where they had like a big, strong, able, fast, agile physical body, and they had the human experience of using that body for the base 5 senses, they may choose to come back in a limited body in order to better develop their intellectual capacities in their next lifetime, since all of their athletic abilities or physical abilities were highlighted in a different life. Once again, sometimes those physical limitations are to show that God can show up in the human experience to overcome physical limitations in order to show that it is still divine regardless of those body limitations. Or maybe someone being born with or acquiring autism in this life. They may be artistic in some sort of way, or they may be good mediums. So they decided to take an L in order to gain a plus in this lifetime to better highlight their talents and their soul's natural abilities in the earth realm. So it's not always a bad thing. Everything is not tragic when you see someone with a disfigured body. Another reason why people may have a problem now that they are here with the body that they're in is because when you were in the spirit realm, you may have decided you wanted to incarnate in your ancestry because that ancestry has a heck of a lot of talent, intelligence, or other abilities, or you needed to get some karmic lessons by being born through that ancestry. And what the physical body would look like taking on your mother and father's genes didn't matter to you so much. So when you got down here and got socially programmed and people told you that what you look like wasn't acceptable enough, but please know that when you chose the body that you're in, if you have a problem with it now, you didn't have a problem with it then when you chose the body, because there were other attributes that you needed and other purposes for your destiny that did not involve you being a cover girl or the high school jock. So just know that the problems you feel with the body you're in, they're based only on your human experience. Say, for instance, the Jackson family. They have a powerhouse of talent, but they had problems with their nose. So they could have chosen to be born into those physical bodies where they wouldn't like the nose once they got here, but they got the talent, so it was a good trade-off. Because they were being born into a musically talented dynasty, and they probably figured they could alter the noses once they get here later on, because the body's just a meat suit, so you can redecorate it the way you want, or reappear it, which we will talk about in a moment. But let's talk a little more about that white doll, black doll syndrome. A child does not feel like they're ugly until they've been told that they're ugly, or they've been teased by their peers. And a child does not feel like they're ugly until they feel unaccepted. Because if you're not accepted by those close to you, parents, family, and peers, then you will begin to not accept yourself, and you will work to alter things to make yourself look more acceptable, to get love, and to feel included. So if you saw my previous video, which I will leave at the top and in the description box, about Ori, how you chose your destiny, I spoke about a concept called Ayamo, which is the aspect of your destiny that can't be changed, such as your race and the parents you chose. Certain things can't be changed, whereas with Ori Apere, which is the opposite of Ori Ayamo, Ori Apere is the aspect of destiny that can be changed and altered, the wiggle room. So an example of Ori Apere and changing certain aspects of your destiny could be things such as BBL surgery, liposuction, and certain different things you can do to change the appearance. Getting a perm on the hair, getting a nose job. Those are examples of wiggle room in the destiny, despite the fact being born with certain characteristics that you would prefer not to have. It's not a matter of judgment or right or wrong. It's a matter of your soul's agenda and what you choose. But I would invite you to think carefully before making major changes, because your top head, Ori Ode, could make you feel very uncomfortable with those changes after those changes have been made, and cause a possible alteration in your destiny, with you missing certain important points in your life and experiences in your life you needed to go through, keeping things the way they are. So maybe contouring the nose rather than getting a full nose job. There are certain other things that can be done to where you don't have to change Ayamo, but you can alter it a little bit to make it look more how you want it to look. So here are some things to keep in mind in order to help you better accept the body that you are in. Number one, if you're looking to alter your body in order to look for the ideal love relationship, just know that your soul group members and karmics, they were there when you chose your body, so they knew what your natural body would look like. And that's how they know how to look for you on earth. So if you alter it too much, how are they going to find you? If you want to know more about how your soul group members find you on earth, in order to subconsciously remember you and recognize you when they see you walking down the street or meet you in that classroom or at that bar, check out Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton, and it will help you better understand how we recognize each other on earth. Your soul group members and the person you are supposed to share a romantic experience with in this life, they knew that you would be either tall, short, fat, skinny, light, dark, etc., etc. So if a person is meant to be in the metaphorical picture frame of your life, they are going to accept your body as you are because they will be in love with your character. Not that they don't want you to look your best and take care of your health and appearance and spruce it up a little bit. But if they're meant to be with you and stay with you, what your body looks like won't be a problem. So don't worry about if your hips aren't wide enough, or if whatever it is, if your butt isn't big enough or breast, whatever it is. Your soul group member that you are meant to be with will not have a huge problem with what your body looks like, unless they've just been socially programmed to feel like they can't accept that you are enough as you are. So if someone rejects you because your butt isn't big enough, or your height isn't tall enough, or your skin isn't dark enough or light enough, or whatever it is, that person's not meant to be in your picture frame. Next thing, your body is meant to be taken care of, not run down. You may think you're helping yourself get off this prison planet and human experience faster by running your body down, but all you're doing is making it worse, getting through it, if you don't take care of yourself. Remember, you can move apartments, you can move houses, but you cannot move into a different body. There are no gut transplants, there are no head transplants. So take good care of your body, especially taking good care of your head via taking care of your mental health and taking care of your emotional health, because emotions actually start in the head as well, not just the heart. So be careful of what type of toxic TV shows you watch or music you listen to, and what type of garbage you put in your subconscious. Because a lot of times, some of the movies and music and television shows you watch is just like eating a spiritual McDonald's meal that can be toxic to your soul's health. And I know that word toxic is overused, but you get my point. But when it comes to your soul's agenda, it doesn't care so much about height and all that other stuff and colorism. Those are elementary level, unevolved, kiddie level topics and issues that people tangle themselves up in like a spider web, which causes them to slow down their progress in their soul's journey and hinder their experience on earth, being so caught up in this tangled energy that they can't move forward, which causes an energetic crutch to where they're limping around in life because they're feeling like they're not enough when they are more than enough. Creator having a human experience. So there's not a button to press to get over it. There has to be some sort of investment in yourself to subconsciously get over that mess. It's just a human experience illusion. You ever feel like your body isn't good enough? Go see how much your organs are worth. Your brain, which is a computer. If you're taking your body for granted and you ever had to lose a body part, even if you thought that body part was not beautiful, such as an unpleasant looking toe, best believe you'd miss that toe if you had to get that toe amputated. So don't take your body for granted because you don't like the way it looks, because some fools and social programming has fried your brain and washed your brain into thinking you're not good enough. Take care of your inner soul, your Ori Nu, so that's not in conflict with your top head, your Ori Day, through gut health and character development. Getting a control of the inner urges that sabotage your destiny and good opportunities on earth. Next up, have compassion for your body. It's just an outfit. It's like a wig. You can take it on and off when you get back to the spirit world. It's your vehicle on earth, not a prison cell. If you treat it like a prison cell, then life will feel like a prison. You must treat it like a home. Learn to be at home in your body while you're here, because you only have a short time to be in it. When you get back to the spirit world, you can be whoever you want to be. You come back next lifetime, choose the body you would prefer. But remember, once you get back, you're going to remember that your soul does not care about human beauty standards. It's just your spaceship for the third dimension. The soul's agenda is for God, Creator, our original source, to have an experience of itself through each of us. Our soul is a piece and spark of the Creator that is so vast within itself that it can have experience after experience, lifetime after lifetime, in order to experience what it is not, in order to remember what it is, elevating back to itself to go home to its origin, which is ultimate love. So that's all I have to say about that. Enjoy your body here on earth. Peace and bliss.